Okay. So she's
It's gonna
in.
record it to that computer.
That is,
So if you want the file, you gotta get it to the computer.
I can work with that. Most definitely.
At least it's some.
That sounds like the easiest thing tonight.
She's in.
She's
She's on
in, we're good to
audio.
go. Yep.
It's being recorded. I can. Okay, that was fun.
I have to find out who else.
Okay, we're ready to get started.
Is the agent still coming here? Does he need to?
He's on his way. I'm gonna text him right now.
Good evening, everyone. With a slight delay, I'm going to open up tonight's meeting. It's 6:13. We do have a quorum of commissioners. There are 3 here physically present and 1 that has zoomed in online. So a quorum is, we need 4 as necessary quorum. Tonight's meeting is for Thursday, March 9th, 2023, taking place in the events room at the Mashpee Library, 64 Steeple Street, Mashpee, Mass. We also are recording this. Mashpee TV is here to record the session. Before I begin, if you would stand and join me in a pledge of allegiance. There is a flag out this window in the parking lot. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. How you feeling? Sorry.
Okay.
We did get her in, so.
Yes.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna do is start getting to,
We just can't hear her. Is it, how can we make it so we? You can't hear her? Well, they can.
I can hear her over the laptop. It's not coming through the room audio.
Are you, do you need me to yell if I'm talking?
So is there any
screaming.
audio problem between here and Zoom participants?
I have to get Zoom participants on because it's a different meeting ID and passcode. So
Okay.
I'll have to start sending emails out as we speak. This is what it comes down to. You have the Zoom link on Erin's email thread that she just sent.
Yeah,
I sent her the Zoom link on that. You should have that.
I do.
All right.
Well, I'm here, so I'll stay. I don't need to be on Zoom.
Right, all right, all right.
We're good to start.
Good start.
Okay, so I will start tonight's meeting with public comment. If there is anyone here present that would like to comment on anything that's not contained on our agenda, this would be the time. You can have your name and address for the record. That would be great.
I really did, but I need to, okay, great. Lynn Harvey, 73 Circuit Drive. So, I went to the ZBA meeting the other night and last night and was really astonished at the decision they made to allow the building of this project that had been subject to the lawsuit. So I think it tonight because they also said last night that the Conservation Commission had approved it. So I would like if somebody could, at some point, explain to me, layperson here, how, when the lawsuit said no, did the conservation already approve it before the lawsuit came in late? And how can the Conservation Commission approve something that is being built on the subject to coastal flooding, whatever that is? Because it's really astonishing to me that we continue to give permission for people to build on the water and build a house twice as big, because it's the footprint from the current place is 1,700 feet and they're going to get 2,900 feet or something. And there were 2 people there who are abutters who testified in person that it was very detrimental to them. I just don't understand what the rules are to allow that stuff to continue to happen. And that's why I'm here. Maybe if somebody at some point can explain to me, maybe not tonight, I know you got a full list here. But it's just really puzzling to a lot of us that this keeps going on and we have to make everything less detrimental, not just allow it to be not more detrimental. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, please.
Is there anyone else? For public comment? Okay, thank you. Before we go into our pre and post hearing agenda, I actually have a comment as chair of the Conservation Commission that I will read into tonight's record. I would like to take a few minutes to address recently printed newspaper materials as well as postings to various online social media platforms regarding this commission, its agents, and those commissioners who volunteer their time to serve as stewards of our local environment. Differences of opinion based on fact can lead to compelling and productive dialogue. It is indeed the cornerstone of reaching a consensus with many issues. When a difference of opinion based on misinformation, perhaps disinformation, is put forward, it can only lead to a level of little productivity or result. I have a deep respect for all commissioners as well as our agents and staff. Saying thank you for what you do seems inadequate, as I know the work and effort each of you contribute week after week to facilitate our roles and exercise our responsibilities. As you know, one such responsibility is to perform site visits when needed, which are authorized under Form 3, Access to Property Permission. No filing is complete without this signed form by an applicant or a property owner and their representative. Site visits can be very time-consuming, but many jobs, due to their complexities, make these visits necessary. There is much to be done to deal with the environmental issues we are all facing, and I admire not only your work ethic, but your continued dedication and respect you give to everyone you come in contact with. I invite all residents of Mashpee to join us in doing whatever possible to help us address our current environmental crises. Thank you. And with that, I guess I'd just go right to the first hearing because we had a late start.
Yeah.
So I'll go directly into tonight's hearings and we'll get back to the pre and post agenda items when we complete the hearings. So now calling the 6 o'clock hearing for James Whitney NJCJ LLC, 20 Metacomet Road. This is a proposed reconfiguration of a previously approved float and the installation of a pier section. Representative is Falmouth Engineering Incorporated. This is a continuation from 1/26/23 public hearing notice was not published in the 1/20/23 Mashpee Enterprise, continued from 2/9 for shellfish mitigation. We have a request tonight to continue this hearing to March 23rd at 6:09. And the reason for that is to revise the plan based on meeting with the Conservation Shellfish and Department of Natural Resources. So I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a
to-
motion to continue this meeting to March 23rd at 6:09. 21 minutes.
Thank you, Alex. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We've got about 2 seconds on that.
Yeah. I think I beat you too.
Ah,
Any discussion amongst the commissioners for the motion we have on the table? Hearing none, I will take a roll call vote. Alex? Sandy?
Yes.
Thank you. Aaron?
yes.
That's a yes, and I vote yes as well. Motion carries unanimously. Now calling the 6:03 hearing for Michael J. Price, 152 Pompanesett Island Road, proposed vista pruning, Representative Penny's Landscaping. This is a notice of intent. Do we have,
They would be on Zoom.
they're on Zoom.
They're on Zoom.
Well, they would be, it was the original Zoom meeting.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
So they're probably waiting to be invited to the original.
Oh, right. So there's no way we can find them at this point. I don't,
If we have her email,
yeah,
on there, Stacy should have sent her the Zoom invite, we could just simply send that.
I think I would recommend that we just continue on their behalf due to technical difficulties.
Okay,
There's no way we can know how long it's gonna take for them to see that email and respond, and I think it's just the better.
Can we move to the next one while we're trying to get them on?
Yeah.
Can we revisit them if they are on?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay.
okay, so I would accept a motion to take this hearing out of order and proceed to the next one with the hopes that we can connect with the representative via email and then come back to it. That motion is there
I'll make a motion to take it out of order.
Okay.
And revisit if we can get them on.
later in the evening.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then if not,
all right, thank you. Second to that motion?
then
Thank you, Sandy. Any
I could-
discussion?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, hearing none. Alex,
yes.
Sandy?
Yeah.
Aaron?
Yes,
That's a yes, and I vote yes as well. Motion carries. Okay,
So
so,
I need just a moment to discuss with Dan how to reach this
sure.
applicant.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Hate these away games.
So you're gonna send. Do you need her email?
That's what I see what I have.
You're gonna see if they have it. Okay. Just give us a moment.
Can we move on while you're doing that or no?
I'd rather you wait, if that's okay.
Well, hold on.
It's just gonna take a minute or so. Okay, I got her email. Did you find it yet, Dan? Okay. Okay, we can,
So that's it.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
Did you send it?
Huh?
You just said it.
no,
Okay, now calling the 6:06 hearing for Daniel D. Mackin and Lauren W. Morris, 14 Grand Vista. This is a proposed modification to existing landscaping and hardscaping. Representative is Baxter Nye Engineering and Surveying. This is continued from February 9th, 2023 and February 23rd, 2023. It's an amended order of conditions. Good evening, sir. Maybe a name. for the record?
The record map, professional engineering, action, engineering, surveying, representing the applicant, owner, Daniel Mackin. That this stated this is a continuance from 2/9. The project amendment that we're requesting is a minor change to the limit of work and sorry, we're not going. It's a proposed minor amendments to the limit of work and some slight changes in policy. And you possibly go to the other. Real quick, I'll point to the screen here. I know it's going to be difficult for you to do.
It's all right.
But if I could, I'll just outline, you'll see on the plan, the existing, it's a gray line on the plan, that's the existing. The minor adjustments that we're requesting, you see a very minimus change here in that line there, just slightly to the left. And part of that, it's just creating access around the house, the bay window that was added here that projects off the house, just trying to get a little bit of a walking area around the back of the house. The deck area back here, that is the same, but there's stairs that were added. And then the majority of the change is actually out next to the garage. This is in Logan, golf course, in the country club, and many of the houses, this one included, has a small golf cart bay. And they want to create this little shell driveway access here for the golf cart bay. So that's really where the change in hardscape is occurring. So you can see the limit work with creating that shell driveway, with the stone wall in here, this is going to be an actual stone wall. And the work shifts from here, shifting it out, and then creating grading here. This area that's graded will be then re-landscaped with buffer plantings onto the cooperative list, so appropriate native plantings. And again, all of this work here, this is all in the outer area, the riverfront. It's the only resource area that's included on this lot. The house, as you can see, is set as close as it can be to roadway and vista based on zoning, building setbacks, etc. So, most of this additional hardscape, again, the seashell drive is located in a very outer area. Reviewed this with Drew. I believe he feels that this was a reasonable request. The limit of work disturbance that we're requesting is slightly over 5,000 square feet as allowed under the riverfront area. We're at about 5,300 square feet. We felt that was a de minimis increase, and the increase is literally this area right along here, so it's only about 10 feet wide to the side of the house. And the back edge here has not been modified. The stream is to the north of the property, and it is over the minimum distance, which is up here. It's over 125 feet to the stream areas. It's contiguous wooded area, all on the third part of the open space. So this additional area is just falling to the side of the house, and is, these are all lots. I think the area that you have is actually over area. The house that sits here now, and the house. It's the house that sits here now, and pretty sure, I don't know if there's one that's been file feeded. I know I was contacted on yeah, I believe it was right. This is a lot, and it's not already in the process. Shortly, so you have a fragmented, wooded area between each lot. So that's the only additional impact that would cost you so again, vegetate that area with the things up the cooperative. So the lawn area is the same. It meets the Mashpee regulation for maximum lawn area section. With that, I think he's happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you. One question, I know when at our last hearing, I believe it was on the 23rd, the hang up was that we weren't, we didn't have assurance that we weren't exceeding the 5,000 square foot disturbance. So can you confirm tonight that indeed is the case?
Well, no, we are. As I just said, we're at 5,300 square feet. It's in the narrative that they submitted, and also the initial Q9 hearing. It was also in the narrative that was submitted that we were over 5,000 square feet. After that hearing, and discussed it through, we had some dialogue before prior hearing, and I think we just had a little bit of a miscommunication between the two of us as far as what I thought he said he was okay with and what he thought I was saying. And again, I'll let you speak to that if necessary, but we are over the 5,000 square feet.
Can I have that figure again, Matt? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Can I have that figure again? 5,000.
Yes, in there, it's 5,377.
377. Okay.
And from the what Drew and I had discussed, and again with the location of where that is, as far as the performance standards of the riverfront, we identified that narrative. We feel we are still fully meeting the intent of the performance standards. The being habitat area of the riverfront parcel, 100-foot minimum, we're 125 feet plus. And then erosion, water quality stabilization is all not affected by that additional 300 square feet. And this location is going to be stabilized. We have, you know, a significant buffer to the river. We also have at the back edge of the served areas along the one area in the back. We have this dry well, and the way this is graded is where it's actually burned up slightly here. So again, you know, runoff off of the back lot will be picked up by this dry well, you know, on site. I believe all the performance standards required under the river plan.
Other questions from commissioners?
Paul, can I ask a,
Area. It's proposed to be 5,377. What was it
Correct.
prior?
The approval that's in place right now, it's at 4,999.
So do you think you would have gotten that permit if it was over the 5,000?
I don't know, I mean, possibly, yeah.
So I think,
It's a modification that, you know, during the construction, you know, it's not uncommon that, you know, sort of things change in the field as they're under construction and trying to address the change that has come up. Applicants requesting the change.
yeah, so I think we ultimately approved it initially, given that it met the 5,000 square foot alteration.
Yeah.
And it was under it. I think if they want an area for a shelter driveway for their golf carts,
Yep.
they're gonna have to put it somewhere in the front yard that's outside of that area.
And that is where the house is.
Yeah, so, I don't know, I'm a little hung up on the. It was approved initially because it fit within the regs. And then now this, you know, amendment is going above and beyond that, and it is only, you know, 377 square feet, but at the end of the day, it's 377 square feet,
So
so,
it's also, I believe it's a, you know, minimus as to the, you know, additional area over 5,000 square feet. I think the location of it to the side of the house, so between all of the houses within what you have within the event, like within the development, so the value of that area that's being additionally impacted as far as the performance standards of the riverfront, I think are compromised. I think that understand your point, but it's just one of those things that does happen, and I'm sure this board, this commission has seen it many times where, you know, projects come back when they're under construction, things do change, there's changes on projects as things are being built and they determine, you know, something needs to be adjusted, and, you know, that's why we're here. I think that's part of, you know, why there is an amendment process as well, understanding, you know, everything that's.
Any other questions, Alex?
I think Erin had a question and I can reiterate it for her.
Yeah, because it's gonna be hard to hear. Sure.
Erin, you have a question?
I think that it may have gotten answered. I just had some trouble hearing the gentleman who was presenting. So I think Alex answered it, which is it's over what was previously approved by some 300 and odd square feet, right?
377 square feet over the 5,000 square foot threshold.
And I was just wondering, how did that come about? I didn't understand how that change needed to happen. I missed his part of his narrative.
So Erin is asking, what is the need for this exceedance of 5,000 square feet?
It's to accommodate that gravel, that seashell area to be able to get access for the golf cart today.
So it's for access to the golf cart, a gravel area for access to the golf cart bay. That's
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
and the section that you highlighted previously, Matt, with the grading changes.
Yep.
Is that over on the right side here?
Oh, yeah,
right. So if that is
I
not,
mean, that could be tightened up a little bit. It's just the grading with the, you know, having tied into the existing topography.
okay, there's no hardscaping, it's just grading, it's no hardscaping there.
No hardscaping. It's something that's grading, and it's gonna all be, you know, be landscaped, revegetated with, you know, buffer planting, not ornaments.
Right.
Buffer planting on the buffer.
Okay.
So they'll actually, you know, store, you know, habitat and so forth.
Drew, can I ask another question?
Yes, Aaron. She has a-
Was, sorry, was the golf cart and such in the original plan for the house, or was this kind of added midway through the construction?
So was the golf cart aspect of this in the original plan, or was this added?
It was,
That's part.
yeah, it was added. I mean, initially, they actually wanted to try to do a pump out.
Right.
Say that's not, if I fly and it would work. And so they added.
Okay.
The, small.
Gravel area for the, yeah. So it was added, Aaron, not part of the original proposal,
Okay, thank
part
you.
of this amended request, yeah.
Any other questions from commissioners? Hearing none, Drew, come back to you for comments.
Sure.
And might be giving them, and they'll take comments. We'll
Sure.
take comments from anyone here that's present or questions. Hearing none, I'll take comments from you as well.
Sure. So I did have discussion with this with the amended request with Matt originally, and I apologize because my comments aren't really reflective of what is this most recent proposal. So even though I said it can't exceed 5,000 square feet, I did have a discussion with Matt about this additional square footage of alteration within Riverfront. And basically explained to him that if you can demonstrate that this alteration, and this is in the regs, anyone has the opportunity to present an argument that if you're going to go over the 5,000 square foot threshold for alteration within Riverfront, you have to present the burden of proof that it's not going to adversely impact the river itself. And my honest opinion here, based on the rather minimal request to go over the 5,000 square feet and its proximity and setback to the riverfront, it's in the outer riparian, it's right next to a single family home, which is already in place from the previous order of conditions, that it will not adversely impact riverfront. That's my honest opinion of this. So I don't see any adverse impact if the commission were to approve the amended order request. But I wanted to have Matt and have an opportunity to explain what exactly is being proposed. It's being regraded to adjust the topography and then replanted with buffer zone plantings, native plantings. I'm fine with that. The original proposal had clearing in the back, getting into the buffer zone towards the river, and that's where I had the issue with. So that's been taken off the table, and now it's just expansion on the side lot line, access on one side of the house, gravel area, driveway for the golf cart, and then grading and revegetation for the remaining part. So when you're talking about that revegetation, does that reduce to 377 additional square feet if you're kind of getting a credit for that, if you will?
Yeah, no,
So-
that's 5,300 square feet is the permanent impact.
Permanent impact. Okay. So no other comments.
Um,
So the buffer plantings, once the buffer plantings are in, there's still gonna be 5.
Still be 53,777. Yeah. Permanent impact. Yeah. Permanent alteration.
And for clarification, Matt, what is the size of this area that you were just speaking about that will have no hardscape, but will be planted in native vegetation? Square footage.
That's it, it's. I don't know the exact numbers, I know it's about, it's about 10 foot in additional width from what the prior limit work was by probably 60 feet, so it's probably, so if it's 10 by 60, 10 by 50, 500 square feet.
500 to 600 square feet. That's what we're talking about.
It's still almost 400 feet of mitigation plan. That shouldn't be that.
All right. No other questions or comments from commissioners, agents? Then I'll entertain a motion if there is one.
Yeah. I think I would feel comfortable approving this if there were more mitigation plans. I don't see why there needs to be permanently altered more than 5,000 square feet within the riparian zone. I think the patio can be reconfigured. I think that area in the back can be planted. I'm struggling making a motion to approve this with it being over the 5,000 square feet.
Okay. I'll default next to Aaron. I'm just going by seniority. Is Aaron willing to make a motion?
I share Alex's concerns.
Aaron shares Alex's concerns.
So no motion.
No,
Sandy?
no.
Oh, she's still speaking, sorry.
No, she's not.
Okay. Are you willing to make a motion, Sandy? on the proposal?
Modifications.
Quite honestly, I feel similar to that. And I'm not willing to make a motion either. So we have no motion to proceed. Is there a motion to deny the request?
I think we can make it, if your applicant would be agreeable, I think we could continue this. And the back can be reconfigured to add mitigation plantings so that you basically need 377 square feet of mitigation planting somewhere. If that means, you know, pulling back or like reconfiguring the patio to include them. But I mean, these people bought, these lots were created knowing that this restriction was on there. I think that we can work to something. But to just like keep adding little pieces and being like, oh, well, now we just need another 400 square feet. If you would like for us to continue it, we can continue it. If you think that.
Yeah, I would say, we could, let's continue it, I'll discuss it with, my client and see what they would like to do, and if, they want to make modifications that you're suggesting, I can do that, and I'll think that we submit it through, if they don't, we'll just withdraw and.
Okay.
By a long effect, and
Yeah.
withdraw the prejudice, and then stay with
Right.
So for clarification, we're looking for 377 square feet of additional mitigation to offset where we're at.
So
1 to 1.
when would this be?
So that would be for March 23rd at 6:15.
Okay, is there a motion then to continue? Okay,
Yeah, I'm gonna motion to continue to March 23rd.
okay, thank you. Second,
Second,
thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, take a roll call vote. Alex? Sandra?
Yeah.
Aaron?
yes.
Yes.
That's a yes,
Yeah.
and I vote yes as well. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.
Jackie?
Yeah,
So we-
yeah, we can go back because the Jackie, the applicant is here for 152. We have actually the owner here at the meeting, so
Oh, is Michael there?
Michael, Mr. Price. Mr. Price, you're here for 152, right? Yeah. So we were having technical difficulty getting Jackie into the meeting. It's very hard to hear Zoom participants for audio. Do you mind representing yourself for this hearing? Okay, great.
So
All
Dave,
right, we're gonna
Dave,
open up the hearing then. Just give us a moment.
All right.
Yeah, well, everybody just make sure we speak up.
Dave, can you hear me?
Hold on 1 second.
Jackie,
Can you hear me?
Jackie, we're
Yeah.
having really bad audio reception from people participating via Zoom, but Mr. Price is
Oh.
here and he's going to present the project because he's here in the room.
Okay, do you need this reading or anything, you know, like, or is this gonna, you're gonna be all right?
Can you say that again, Jackie?
Is it gonna be okay? Like, he
I
doesn't have
need-
any of this
I need
paperwork.
real silence. I can't hear Jackie, the applicant's representative. Sorry, go ahead, Jackie.
He doesn't have any of the paperwork.
It's okay. We have everything we need here.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Thank you.
Let me open up the hearing, sir. I'm going to back up our agenda to the 6:03 hearing for Michael J. Price, 152 Pompanesett Island Road. This is a proposed vista pruning, and the representative is the homeowner. And this is the notice of intent. Okay, yes.
Anybody questions about this? Have any questions?
Well, if you just want to give just a brief description of what it is you're proposing, yeah.
I've had the property with institution property style for 45 years. And purchased the property, Lawrence Lynch put in riprap along the water.
Yep.
And at that time, we put those of the on the top of the riprap. And every year we have a patch about 30 inches high. And goes back, keep it healthy. This year, we informed that we couldn't cut it without permission from the conservation commission. And
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. I had an opportunity today to be on the site to look at. I had an opportunity today to be on the site to look at the bushes that have been trimmed.
it's kind of about 6 inches off the top.
Right.
It just proves it.
And
The whole thing is no higher than this table,
right.
and there's no really good spot or anything like that.
And there's a lot of bittersweet invasive vine that's grown in between them. Do you plan to try and take that out, or?
We try to keep.
Yes.
All the roads, but we get the other vines that have to be pulled out, cut back, and they come back anyway.
They're hard to do.
Then also every now and then we get, especially the stairway going down the water, there's some poison ivy that has to be dealt with every year.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's pretty plain vanilla.
Let me ask you one other additional question. When you're standing in the backyard facing the water, the property line that would be to your left, is there any plan to be trimming the vegetation that's on that lot line?
No, the only vegetation besides the those is where 152, where my property abuts my neighbor. Short, could do it. And
Oh.
and there's a road bush there, right beside the stairway. You see the right away.
Oh, yeah.
My house is just to the left. That's the only other vegetation. My wife is a avid gardener. So bushes all around.
Thank you. I have no further questions. Other commissioners, questions, comments? Anything from Aaron, Drew?
Aaron, do you have any questions? No questions from Aaron.
You all said, Alex. Questions from anybody here in attendance? Hearing none. Drew, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Not much to add, only that this request is, it's doesn't fit into our normal vista pruning protocols. It's end to end. I think it's pretty obvious why. It's really in the interest of keeping the Rugosa Rose healthy. This is based on professional feedback from the landscaper who's been caretaking this vegetation for years. So she thoroughly explained it to Dan and I. We understand. And it's entirely your discretion to grant this type of vista pruning, considering when you look at the photos, it truly is just Rugosa Rose. There's no trees. It's really just one species for the most part. So to grant end-to-end pruning in the interest of really keeping this healthy, Rugosa Rose is, it's a native invasive at this point, but it does help to anchor the bank, probably more so than most types of vegetation. So keeping it healthy, I think, is important, and we recommend approval of this closing issue of this notice of intent request.
And I have spoken intensely with Jackie. She's the landscaper who's on right now. And maintaining this rugosa rose actually keeps the root system healthy. And in this area, that will help maintain the coastal bank. And this is a section, as you can see from the overhead map that was shown earlier, that the spit is right across from it. So any stabilization there is key, and paramount needs to be kept in place. And this has been kept in place for so long that it is a benefit to the bank. So, yeah.
And in reality, it's really, I know we're saying vista pruning, but it's not to get a view.
It's really to maintain.
It's
the-
maintain.
This will
Right.
maintain the integrity and health.
Right.
Okay. I'm open to a motion.
I just feel weird about the perpetuity issue with that. I don't know.
We can make condition that they notify us when they're getting ready to prune. That's goes along with every other vista pruning
Okay.
order of conditions that we issue.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with them maintaining for the health of these plants, but I
Yeah.
don't want. them
Yeah.
30 years.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then if there was any, in that agreement, if there was going to be any change to the vegetation on the bank, the conservation would have to be notified beforehand.
Okay.
And with the vista pruning as well, we usually have that on site real quick. I say real quick just for this case, this one instance. And that would be to see the health of the rugosa rose, but also just to point out if there is any bittersweet or any poison ivy that can be pulled that when they do all the cutting at the same time.
Well, there's plenty.
That's great. Thank you.
So, and that is something we are aware of, and Jackie is aware of as well. She has said she has pulled it in the past. And that she is added every year, making sure that it's maintained.
Okay, so. I'll make a motion to close an issue. The NOI for 152 Pompanesett Island Road with the condition to notify the Concom prior to any annual. Meetings.
Do I have a second to that? Thank you, Sandy. Discussion amongst the commissioners. We have a motion that's on the table. I'll open this up for a quick discussion, if there is one. Anything from Erin? I can't hear. She's.
Nope. She says no comment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything? One thing I would add to the mix, what if in a sequence of time, these bushes are decided they're no longer wanted and something else is planted in this location?
Right.
Does this vista pruning authority continue, or even say a successive owner that comes in?
I agree.
Where does that leave us with that?
Vista pruning is typically, when there's an order of conditions issued for vista pruning, it carries on because there's a boilerplate condition that we have in every order of conditions issued for repeated activities like beach nourishment and vista pruning, that it passes on to any successor in interest or successor in control. So if the house is sold, if it's passed on to relatives, et cetera, this right carries with it. However, if there's any alteration, and we can, again, create a condition for this, if there's proposal to rip out, to alter the area from its currently existing condition, can require that the Concom be notified and then have proper oversight and permitting moving forward, depending on that situation.
We would let you know if we're gonna switch out those Rosa
Yeah.
Rugosa, but we have no intention on doing that. But
Okay.
if we were, we would definitely notify you.
Okay. Jackie, the landscaper was just saying they have no intention of doing that, but if they did, they would certainly notify us.
So with the condition to notify Concom prior,
Mhm.
did we already cover that, or do we need to amend the condition or even on the table?
Well, I just wanted to bring it up before I call for a vote, because it's a concern that I have that,
Same.
somebody came in and said, hey, I don't like these kind of bushes, get them out of here, and all of a sudden now we're dealing with something else.
Right, so
So you could amend your motion if you would like to.
to what, how would you amend that?
I think the concern we want to cover is if the vegetation changes. And I mean, we're making this motion because of the nature of this particular species of vegetation, its ability to stabilize the embankment. It's not native, but for all practical purposes, they're everywhere here now. And it's,
So we have the
easy
condition
to
to
make.
notify Concom prior to the meeting.
Native.
You could add a condition, word of condition, that notice to Concom of any future proposed alteration in this area.
There you go.
Okay, so I'd like to amend the.
motion on the table, right?
amended to approve and close for 152 Comcast Island Road with the condition to notify Concom prior. And the condition to notify Concom of any intended changes to the vegetation.
Okay. There's a second for that amendment.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on Alex's amendment to the motion from commissioners? I think you do. Okay, then we will vote on the amendment first, and if that passes, we will vote on the original, the new motion. Okay, so I'm calling for a vote on the amendment to that motion.
Yes.
Alex? Sandy?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well.
Aaron voted yes.
I heard that little squeak.
Gotta yell really loud.
Okay, so now I'll go back to the amended motion to see if that will carry as stated.
Yes.
Yes. Sandy?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
I vote yes as well, so the motion carries. We're good. Well said.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's it. One little hiccup. Sorry about that. I want to get it right. Beautiful backyard. Standing down there watching the water.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, this one.
Okay, so I am now going to move to 609 hearing. This is for Robert S. Durant, trustee of 43 Horseshoe Bend Way. Proposed removal of an existing cesspool and upgrade to Title V septic system. Representative is Cape and Islands Engineering. This is a request for determination of applicability continued from February 23rd. Good evening. Have your name and
Good evening, Mark Dick with Cape and Islands Engineering. So we will continue from the last hearing and keep this relatively short. We revised the plans to include innovative alternative technology for the property as well as UV treatments. We did not reconfigure this septic system at all. It could be moved maybe 4 or 5 feet further away from the water, but we've chosen to put it where it is to avoid the naturally vegetated area at the easterly side of the site. So the IA system, we believe we meet the requirements of Board of Health, Title V requirements as well as conservation.
okay. Thank you. Questions, comments from commissioners? Aaron, do you have any questions or comments?
No, sir.
No comments.
No comment. And so the configuration is staying with that piece that's kicked over, right?
Correct. Yes, we could kick more over, but then we start.
Right. So we're going with the original design of
Yeah.
the leach area, but IA.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Any questions or comments from those in attendance? One person giving a thumbs up, they're happy about that. Drew, is there anything you would like to add?
Nothing to add on to the comments I already put in, other than Board of Health said they will review plans for the proposed IA fast system upon receipt of plans, and I don't know if that's taken place already, but that was their most recent comment. So property is limited to 2 bedrooms. Agent recommends negative determination.
Thank you. All right. I'd accept the motion if there is.
I'll make a motion for a negative determination for the RDA from the Horseshoe Bend Way.
Thank you, Alex. Second to that?
Second.
Thank you, Sandy. Discussion amongst the commissioners for the motion that we have on the floor. Hearing none, take a roll call vote. Alex?
Yes.
Thank you, Sandy.
Yes.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yes.
Heard that. That's a yes, and I vote yes as well. Motion carries. Thank you.
Mark, you should have said, that was your back.
It's gonna be fast.
Put that one down for the record. Moving on, 612. Robert S. Durant, trustee, 33 and 37 Horseshoe Bend Way, proposed removal of an existing cesspool and upgrade to Title V septic system with increase in flow. Representative Cape and Islands Engineering. This is also continued from February 23rd. It is an RDA. Good evening.
Again, Mark Davis, Cape Mountain Engineering. Same response with this one. We did add an IA system to this one as well. This one, the system is as close to the street layout as possible. It is technically, we're going from a 2-bedroom to 3-bedroom, but also utilizing the entire lot. Basically 2 lots combined together to achieve 3,000 square feet in order to do that. Otherwise, again, we're adding items to this project.
Okay,
Great.
thank you. One question I have, will the lot lines be redrawn so that this is indeed on the assessor's map a single lot, or will that still remain divided as lot 1E and 2E?
It's under common ownership, so technically it's
Okay.
basically combined. I don't believe we can go through the A&R process to formally move that line.
Yeah, I don't know if that's even necessary, but I thought I'd ask. Okay. Any questions, other questions, comments from commissioners? Anything from Aaron?
Oh, sir.
Nope. Okay, those that are in attendance, questions or comments on the proposal? Hearing none. Drew, is there anything you'd like to add?
Only just adding Board of Health comments that they will review the IA system plans upon receipt of the application plans. And that the property is limited to 3 bedrooms per Board of Health requirements.
Okay. I'm open to a motion if there is one.
I'll make a motion for negative determination for the RDA for 33 and 37 portion benefit.
Thank you, Alex. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Sandy. Any discussion on the motion we have? Hearing none. Alex?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
That's a yes. I vote yes as well. Motion carries.
Thank you.
2 fast ones. No pun intended. They're both fast systems, right? Good. 609, 612, 615. Okay. Now opening the 6:15 hearing for Brendan P. Giblin, 90 Pompanesett Island Road. This is a proposed demolition of an existing dwelling and appurtenances, construction and maintenance of a new single-family dwelling, garage with pile-supported guest suite above, in-ground swimming pool, fencing, pool cover enclosure, new patios, landscaping, hardscaping, and a Title V IA septic upgrade. Representatives Cape and Islands Engineering, this is continued from 1/12/23, 1/26/23, 2/9/23, and 2/23/23. So notice of intent. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Mark Davis, Cape Mountain Engineering, Dan and Nick Crawford. So I'll go through first a couple of plan changes we did, and then some documents we submitted at the request of the commission last hearing. This is listed a number of hearings. The first couple we continued to work through some staff things. And we've been before this commission twice, so this is the third time. As far as plan changes, you'll notice that between the proposed pool and garage, there was there's a walkway in front of the garage to some steps coming to the side in between. And we had some patio area around the molly pool between the pool and the garage. So that's basically hardscape that even projected into the velocities. So that hardscape has been removed between pool and garage. There was also a area of hardscape between the pool and the house that ran all the way to the end of the deck and back. It's more hardscape as well in the velocities. We've left just enough padding in this area so that they can get out from the under the deck area over to the pool while still being hardscape. So that is a further reduction. hardscape from the plan. We've also provided, two documents, one from Cape and Islands Engineering. So, the Cape and Islands letter, starts off, what we did was, documented the amount of structure and impervious area in the velocities. If you read through the letter, there's actually two sets of numbers. The first set, under the existing conditions area, the proposed condition area. Per building code, per the building inspector, per, the way structures and velocities are looked at, if a portion of the structure is in velocities, the entire structure is in velocities. So the first set of numbers, the existing conditions, describes that there's 1,317 square feet of impervious area and structure velocities. What that means is there is a portion of the house, it's primarily a portion of the deck and stairways is connected to the house, it's part of the house. If there's ever issues with that, that could damage the house as well. So per building, zoning and building regulations, that entire structure, the existing structure is in the velocity zone, as well as it has significant habitable space for base population or even if it needs. Under the proposed conditions, you'll see there's actually a reduction of impervious area and structure and velocities. And what we've done is to identify that the garage structure, which again is on piles with some living area above, for building code for velocities. That entire garage, again, even though you see the velocities in line, cuts right through the middle, that entire 557 square feet is counted as in velocities. There's also the deck behind the house, which structurally is designed, it's not connected to the proposed house, it's structurally designed to be anchored to be an independent structure. So again, even though the velocity zone cuts through that deck area behind the proposed house, the house is not included, but the entire deck is not just a portion of the at once. And then the remaining number, the 204 square feet, is that area of pool, like you see, again, the velocity zone is that blue line secting through the pool, through the garage. Is that area right there is the pool, there's a small area patio still left in the velocity zone, and that's 204 square feet. Then in the paragraph below that, I think I provided this information as well to the commission. Felt it kind of matched Paul's request, is just what is the square footage of impervious area in the velocities, not considering this structure classification. You'll see that under existing conditions, it's 25 square feet, and under proposed conditions, it is actually greater at 603 square feet. Provided those, because that per the wording and request from Paul, I think that's the numbers he was looking for, and that includes, and the pool, the patio. So we did provide them information. I do feel that, continue to feel that the house, the main house, the deck, and the garage structure, all will be built to today's current codes and regulations. We feel it's an improvement above the existing dwelling, and it's very susceptible to velocity zone, which is well, just general flooding the entire floor levels, base elevation, space. And then the last thing we did was to apply drainage, similar drainage characteristics to what might happen with floodwater, so, you know, if as an engineer, you can create, you can analyze the amount of runoff that would be created from this property. And we provided calculations that show, and I didn't, the tables of calculations, again, there's some increased impervious area. But there is also a significant reduction of, areas of, mulch and landscape, in dirt, basically. So that increased impervious area is offset by all the new woods, the new vegetation, plantings, proposing, almost 3,000 square feet of mitigation plantings. And we're down to a required mitigation at this point after some of these newer changes of only 1,883 square feet. So we still comfortable and we feel we meet the regulation 25, that this will not was a significant impact. We believe it's actually done for the project. That entire green area on the plan is right now, it's dirt or grass or just, you know, it's the family's community space right now. So the trade-off for this project is that, other than the light green area, where, you know, that's access around. And we even have a proposed fence which would delineate that access versus the restoration. So the family's congregation area now is that patio behind the pool. The pool, you know, which is all much further away from resource areas. It's kind of controlled in a way. So that is the new congregation area. Proper land management did submit a document as well. I'll let Nick just cover a few of the points in that. Questions?
Good evening, Nick Crawford from Property Land Management. We submitted 2 additional documents. One is the diagram and one is the letter that addresses both the benefits to the project as well as directly references regulation 25. So if you look at the diagram, I hope it's clear and easy to read. I think it is. You know, it gives you an overall sense of just how much increase there is to the native vegetative buffer for the top of the coastal land and the salt marsh versus what exists now. The area that is shown in the you know, diagonal stripes with the light green underneath and the dark green over the top, that is all existing lawn that will be converted to a native vegetative buffer that will, you know, all just hit some of the highlights. Will enhance wildlife habitat within the buffer closest to the resource area, reduce the potential for sedimentation and storm runoff going into the resource areas, and will improve the ability for the land subject to coastal flooding to dissipate wave energy and sort of floodwaters. In addition to that, we directly addressed regulation 25. It's mostly pertinent to 25B and 25C. So 25B says that the width of the native vegetative buffer must equal 20% of the average depth of all. So we did the calculations. The lot is 190 feet wide or deep. 20% of that would be 38 feet. The average depth of the proposed native vegetative buffer is 46 feet. So we're significantly over, you know, the minimum amount that's allowed. In addition to that, it says that 25 it says that 30% of the land subject to coastal flooding shall be left naturally vegetated. The total lot size between the property line and mean high water is 29,600, approximately 29,620 square feet. 30% of that area would equal 8,800 square feet. So that would be the minimum required to meet that requirement. as proposed, we are at 17,000 square feet. So we are almost, we're just a little bit less than double the amount of plant. And those are, you know, the new documents that we submitted, along with the changes that were proposed by Mark. You know, we feel that this project is definitely a net benefit, once everything is completed in entirety. And I'll answer any questions.
Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry, I still have a lot of questions, but it's my job. So Mark, we're going from 25 square feet under the existing conditions of impermeable hardscape coverage, whether it's part of the existing house. And then as we move into the proposed conditions, it's 603 square feet. So I started with my own scale and the older map that we had at the last meeting, and I actually didn't get that high, so you're higher than I thought. But it's hard, you know, going in just a ruler. And then we have two HydroCAD printouts. One is for the existing project site, a type 3 24-hour, 25-year rainfall at 5.75 inches. And then there is the sub-attachment 5S for the proposed project site, same type, 24-hour, 25, rainfall 575, runoff area, the exact same, 2417. There would be a substantial increase of runoff if we went to a 50-year storm event or a 100-year storm event, or God forbid, we had a storm surge and we had a foot or two of water come in. And I know it's hard to put that into a HydroCAD program, but the point that I'm making is there are a lot of other scenarios that could be run to show a much more dramatic runoff. And that in essence is where I was going in the last meeting. What I mentioned to you is that hardscape materials not only severely limit the absorption factor, it brings it to zero. And I know you guys have done a wonderful job with the mitigation. It's got to be the best proposal for mitigation I've seen in a long, long time, in terms of the graphics and the species and everything else. But I have a lot of questions about the mitigation as well. So my question is, why not run several model programs? They're not hard to run. They're 5 minutes to hit the button, and I know computers can be tough. Dan had a lot of trouble here tonight.
Well, it's actually easy. It's a new rainfall amount. It's basically a click of a button.
Yep.
And we can provide that. I'm going to anticipate that, yes, runoff will increase, but it will increase with the existing condition an equal amount that will increase for the proposed condition. We can definitely provide that clarification in the calculations to support it. Yes, it increases. What is not, and that's just what is not actually tabulated into this is that's just a because the existing doesn't have roof drains, existing doesn't have things like that.
Correct.
That's just comparing different surface types existing and proposed.
Right.
It doesn't even incorporate the roof drains.
Sorry,
Believe it or not, it does not incorporate the roof drains.
Okay.
So, you know, we're still just based on the different types of materials by turning the lawn into or dirt lawn into naturally vegetated area, you know, just provides that much more. But we can certainly supply different types of calculations. And again, this is the way drainage would be calculated. A flood will come in and go no matter what's there. You know, I don't necessarily say these are apples to apples comparisons,
Sure.
but it's the closest I could get to describing the surface types of existing versus.
Right. I was surprised to look at the runoff volume, both existing and proposed, coming right down to the exact same cubic foot. I mean, it's kind of like winning the lottery.
No,
At first, I thought it was a mistake, to be honest with you. I was reading this earlier today and I started flipping them back and forth and I said, maybe they just put the wrong titles because everything is identical.
I believe.
I've never seen it
I
in my life. I've never
I
seen it.
thought it would be less on the proposed. I really thought we
Yeah.
had that much new vegetation.
Right.
New, I was very happy that it, it didn't go over. This is not for a residential project. This is not.
Right.
Type of analysis,
And it-
but I think if I think I will incorporate the volume of when I'm gonna recalculate and add some more storm events, I'm gonna add the roof drain passes, things like that. So to really see that reduction.
well,
At the end of this, we're asking to do that.
my intent, as you know, was to get that square footage for everything in the velocity zone, because we all know that's the first place the water's coming. And my concern was, where is that water going? And, I like what you did. It's great. It saved me a lot of measuring, even though I did measure it. I said, you come up with more than I did. But the HydroCAD studies have me baffled that they're right on the button. And I really would like to see, 50-year, 100-year, I mean, typically, when you run these things out, you go anywhere from 5, 10, 25, and on up. Just to see that at some point, they're not going to come out identical. I think we both know that. And what I'm looking for is, what is that cumulative effect of the impervious surfaces that are sitting in that velocity zone? And I'm not convinced at this stage that I have enough information based on, thank you. It's wonderful. I wasn't going to run the calculations because I don't have the program. But I'll turn it over to the other commissioners for questions or comments they have.
I really like the communication.
You have to speak a little bit louder.
Yeah, I like the vision. But all I hear your concerns.
Sandy, any comments or questions?
I think I agree with Alex about the mitigation also, but, I've been on the site too. I'll worry about the velocity.
Also,
Can this be built so that the structures, the pool and the garage are completely out of the velocity zone? Is it possible on the site to do that with the house that you have?
The house is out, the deck on the back is partial. The pool and the garage, there's a 40-foot setback. It's kind of, the lot on the northern end is much bigger than, so it cannot be, without further significant, reduction. I think we've reduced almost from our initial submittal, the required mitigation, which has reduced by over 1,000 square feet. But some short answers, no, it's a drastic change to.
Does it ever happen where a waiver is granted for the distance from the road? Who's that under?
Zoning.
CBA.
The zoning grant waivers for that?
So we have applied for the, it's an existing non-conforming for ZZ.
Right.
We have not applied for a variance.
Mainly approved. All sorts of things. I feel like
It would require about a 10-foot variance just to slide some components forward. I just don't know how that would, usually they rely on more approval.
In the scheme of things, they like us to go first so that there are no changes and they can deal with a finished product, because it becomes a tennis match. It's back and forth, back and forth. And I know they're under some pretty tight guidelines in terms of creating no new non-conformities, so you might have a hard time with that. don't know. That's their purview, it's not ours.
I mean, can you like ask them to allow it so that they can have this and stay out of the velocity zone? Can we like, I don't know,
I don't recommend that.
it feels so,
I mean, they're their own purview. I think it's inappropriate for another board to make a recommendation on a private project.
but they rely on our recommendations and they don't even listen to us when we don't want them to approve things. So I'm confused as, I guess, so the velocity zone is what is at stake here is something being built in the velocity zone. And the only way that it can be built and not in the velocity zone, what I'm hearing is that zoning would have to offer a variance with the house plate.
Or the applicant would.
Or the applicant could reduce the
shrink
footprint.
Project down. I mean, it is a swimming pool. And
It's not the only option, is a zoning setback. This other option is to reduce the footprint to keep it out of the velocity zone.
Right, and just do like a spot.
Anything else?
Yeah, it's really hard to approve in the velocity zone, even with all the plantings, everything. I think that's kind of really hard.
Well, I've been, I have some real reservations about things in velocity zones. That's when the water's coming.
I mean,
It's a dangerous area of the floodplain.
last week wasn't even a storm. And the wind event that we had, like the amount of erosion and the flooding that was happening, like I feel like it's coming and it feels really just hard to.
Are there comments, Drew, from Aaron? Questions?
Aaron, do you have any comments?
I was just going to echo their concerns that if there's some way to get these structures out of the velocity zone or reconfigure it in some way, I would feel much more comfortable approving that.
So Aaron basically said if there was some way to reconfigure to get out of the velocity zone, she would feel more comfortable with that type of approach.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just gonna follow up with a couple of quick things. Again, I think, the pool and patio areas being used as their community areas. I think if we do reduce I think you're asking for, are you asking for just all structure or pool? And I guess what I'm getting to is I think they're gonna seek other area for some communities. I think we're gonna start taking a look at this mitigation plan in order to just, they do have kids and, just some additional area back and that main green area, things like that, will be reincorporated back into the project. Just to trade off on the recreational use that we're gonna benefit. If I don't know if you're willing to say the pool is the biggest issue in the garage and the house, I don't know if you're willing to give that feedback right now. Definitely have to, take that back to our clients as well as perform the addition calculations.
Right.
Feedback on it.
Well, I can tell you that I don't think it's a secret that my concerns are things in the velocity zone. So, as much as you can get out of there, the better, as far as I'm concerned. I will also say that I've had an unusual amount of time to spend with this project because of the numbers of continuances. And I've been looking at things and reading a lot. And I've had a discussion with both our agents about inland subject to coastal flow. And we have a difference of opinion. People do. And as I said earlier in my statement, opinions based on facts are very healthy discussions to have. There's been an awful lot of focus on land subject to coastal flow. And it happens in zoning, it happens here, it's happening in this town because every storm we get, we're losing a lot of coastline. I've been reading the regulations, I've been reading our bylaw, and I've been reading chapter 12 mitigation. And the difference of opinion is that when I read Mashpee bylaw 172-2, which is our jurisdiction, it refers to all the resource areas. And this obviously is one. And then I come back over to regulation 25 and I look at all of the language and performance standards in this resource area. Land subject to coastal flow technically doesn't have a buffer zone, and everything that you've proposed, all the mitigation that you've proposed, is outside of buffer zones for resource areas, whether it's a salt marsh, the coastal bank, the dunes, you name it. There's a whole chart here that you've listed out, and you've got all the figures for our chart that is found in regulation 12, referring to the mitigation summary at the top of the plan. It goes from 0 to 10 buffer all the way down to 50 to 100 buffer. And these are all riparian formulas that you're using. The more I read this, and the more I read the land court decisions about land subject to coastal flow, I'm just convinced, and I'm reading it in law, that land subject to coastal flow is the resource area. It's as much of a resource area as a salt marsh, as a dune, as land under ocean. This is the conversation that I had. And you are in the resource area when you make these proposals. At least this is my opinion. And I'm basing it on what I'm seeing in our regulations. So I'm under the impression that the mitigation needs to be much greater. You're not in a buffer zone with land subject to coastal flow. That land subject to coastal flow, whether it's the velocity zone or whether it's outside the velocity zone, that's a resource area. You're in it. So I think you're looking at the maximum amount of mitigation according to the chart. And the discussion that we've had is, well, these are for naturally vegetated areas. I get that. But when I read the chart, it also says for altered areas. And I'm at a quandary as to how much mitigation do we really need here? Because you're saying 3,398 square feet of proposed new disturbance in land subject to coastal storm flow. If my interpretation is right, then that's the amount of square footage that you need to mitigate. And you're inside the resource area, not in a buffer zone. And that becomes a huge figure. Maybe I'm wrong, but this thing keeps me up at night. I don't know.
I'm gonna just. I get two parts of my response. So the first response is, obviously, there's the Wetlands Protection Act, and then your regulations. In the Wetlands Protection Act, there are no performance standards for land subject to coastal
Right.
And it's about the protection of habitat, structures, things in those. So, I mean, in general, I guess I disagree with the application of the mitigation to land subject to coastal storm coverage. And I just, again, feel the upgrade of the structures to today's current flood regulations protects both the users of the house and the environment. Less risk of the entire house getting wiped out. The house as it is today has as much greater capacity to cause damage and destruction in that area from a big storm than what we proposed. I know you've requested additional calculations.
I'd like to see those.
Actually requested again reductions at this point.
Right. And I will continue my research into what I'm seeing here, because I'm in a quandary. I'm seeing it one way and other people see it a different way. That's fine. It's a healthy discussion, and it would be something that I think should be resolved one way or the other.
And I think regardless of opinion, though, whether the land subject should be mitigated for or not, looking at the project holistically is still a net benefit. And I think that if you start to reduce square footages and reduce required mitigation in the end, that we're gonna end up with a less holistic project. And like Mark was saying before, right now, all of, the human activity is centralized to areas that are clearly delineated from all the naturalized areas. And I think that if we do reduce, potentially some of these useful areas, start to spill out into areas that are currently shown as naturally vegetated buffer, I think it's gonna be less clear and more apt to sprawl over the lifetime of the property. I think centralizing the activities is a big part of keeping the restored areas restored and naturalized, as opposed to kind of using lawn areas and not having a real clear picture of where one ends and the other begins.
Okay, so Mark, are you willing to request a continuance so that we can see how much we could possibly get out of the velocity zone and provide a little bit more information with that HydroCAD program?
So we'd like to request.
Okay. And I would entertain a motion for that. Do we have a date and time to?
Can I offer some comments before?
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I would just ask if there's any other aspect of this that the commission be provide that information now before you grant a continuance. If there's any additional details, concerns, feedback, please make it known now, because we're getting into a number of continuances that I find problematic. So please be very forthcoming, think carefully while we're all here tonight, and provide Cape and Islands and Crawford with any and all feedback. So when they come back, they're furnished with all the information they need for you to render an informed decision.
All right, then let me poll the commissioners that are present here. Alex, is there anything else that you would like to have addressed at this next meeting?
Yeah, I think basically. I don't know how to do this one through anymore. I hear what you're saying about if we don't have a place to recreate, it's gonna stall. And the human impact on the land is gonna be greater if we don't have a pool and a fire pit and a space to congregate. I get that. Would we be more comfortable if it was just out of the 50 foot to the coastal bay? If it could just be like eked back a little bit further? Maybe. Then that might do it, but I don't know.
Sandy, any further concerns that you would have now, or if you had some, you could email them out.
It's a tough one because now we're trying to get this house fit this land.
So nothing at this time.
No.
And anything, Aaron, that you would have, that you would bring up right now?
I think the only thing that I would bring up is if there's any way to get the pool maybe a little bit smaller, that might make me feel a little more comfortable if we were further outside the 50 foot. I'm sorry. That makes sense.
Did you catch that?
Barely.
So if you would- any opportunity to reduce the pool, get it further, increase the setback from the 50 foot or out of the velocity zone, any opportunity to improve the setback.
Okay. So that's not a new concern.
Right.
That's something that we already have.
Right.
That's it.
Okay, then I would accept a motion for the continuance. Do we have a date and a time?
Yep, so it'll be 6/18 on March 23rd.
6/18, March 23rd.
Make a motion to continue for 90 Comprehensive Island Road to 6/18 on March 23rd.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Alex?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Yes. And I vote yes as well. Motion carries. Thank you. Appreciate it. Now calling the 6/18 hearing for Anthony and Meredith Stern, 106 Jenkins Road. This is a proposed removal of an existing cesspool and upgrade to Title V septic system. Representative GeoCape Environmental Consultants continued from February 23, 23, some RDA. Good evening.
Good evening.
Have your name for the record, please?
Lon Harrington for GeoCape Environmental Consultants, representing the one the firm at 106 Jenkins Road. This was a continued hearing. Just to recap, this property was newly purchased and there was a Title V property transfer inspection done. And during the inspection, there was a step forward, which was the first component of the septic system. That was deemed a failure. And the septic inspector at that time wanted to spoke to the board of health regarding the what to do as far as the upgrade of the system. And the board of health then told the inspector to fail the cesspool and replace with a conventional L5 septic tank. So that's when I got involved and designed the plan with a conventional Title V septic tank. The existing leaching pit did pass the Title V inspection, so the existing leaching pit is to remain. At the conclusion of the discussion at the last meeting, the commission asked me to go back to the homeowner and ask if they would consider putting in a unite for additional treatment based upon the water quality within the bay and also to improve overall water quality period. And so I did go back to the homeowner and the homeowner was willing to upgrade and include the advanced treatment. And so I revised the plan and submitted that for tonight's hearing.
Great. Anything else?
No.
Thank you. Questions and comments? Anything from Aaron?
Aaron, do you have any? No.
No,
Glenn, what is the net savings to the amount of nitrogen that we're talking about from a conventional 5 that you came with the last time to this fast model of the DMAT system?
I'm sorry, what is
The reduction in nitrogen between the two, roughly?
well, I think it's greater than 50%. Again, I think they're finding that the nitrogen for the single family homes is higher than what the EEP said at 40, and I think it's probably closer to 60 milligrams or higher. And the systems are meant to get down around 19. And so I think that it's higher than 50%.
Great. Thank you. No further questions. Comments from people in the thumbs up from one person. Drew, anything you want to add?
Board of Health comments application for IA system to be reviewed upon submission. And no other comments. Recommend a negative determination.
Thank you. Right. I'll accept a motion if there is one.
Yeah, I'll make a motion for a negative determination for the RDA for 106 as well.
Thank you, Alex. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Cindy. Discussion on the motion? Nothing? Okay. Alex,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Aaron,
yes.
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now calling the 6/21 hearing. This is for Joseph J. and Kathleen C. Seulo, 65 Redwood Circle. It is a proposed septic system upgrade. Representative of Engineering Works Incorporated. This is an RDA. Good evening.
My name is Peter, I'm the engineering one, so we represent the skills. This project, is currently, most of the things have been filed for the conditions that they're preparing on the house, actually putting it on right now. In the process, the Board of Health went down to the site to look at the septic system. They determined that there were actually 4 bedrooms in the house and had previously been approved for 3 bedrooms. So they made a request that the system be upgraded to a 4-bedroom system, which is what we did. So we've proposed a combination of 2,500 gallon septic tank with a 1,000-gallon pump chamber, pumping up to 3,500 gallon chambers. The separation is about 75 feet further from the water source. Then the leach pit, which is at the top of the main tank, and 127 feet to the edge of the pond, the leaching system, and the vertical separation of the proposed system is about 10 feet higher than the bottom of the leach pit that's in the back as well. I think it's a vast improvement over what's there. Size appropriately for bedrooms. This one can go to the Board of Health on Tuesday and approve the variances that were requested.
All set?
Yes.
Thank you. Couple of questions I have. I was looking at the site today, and it was hard for me to determine. There's a narrow area. There were workers there. They had some type of a small bobcat, and they were putting siding on. It was very difficult to walk between where they were working and all of the beech trees that are along that boundary. And I'm looking at this tank, and I'm assuming that a lot of those beech trees are coming out of it.
I think they're probably going to have some sort of a shoreline to keep the cables keep it from caving on the side and pushing on the abutting property.
But all of those trees that are along that property line, they're all coming out?
I don't know. And the reason why we requested a 5-foot variance is because we could put it closer to the foundation, but the tank is underneath the solid floor, so we didn't want underlying footings in the foundation.
The tank that's the
The
existing tank?
no, the proposed tank. The proposed tank is 11 feet from the corner of the building.
Yes.
We had another concept where we had it closer so that we could keep the 10 feet from the property line.
Okay.
But where the tank is so big and it's deep, we didn't want to pose a threat to the structural integrity of the foundation.
Okay.
So we went with 5-foot variance.
So in moving the tank to where it is, 5-foot set off of the property line, that whole area is a stand of beech trees.
Okay, well,
If I'm looking at the right spot, I'm
we didn't stake it on, I don't know exactly what they were expecting with these trees. So
right. The first thing that caught my eye was, okay, I can barely squeeze through where these guys are working. And then I looked at the plan on my laptop and I thought, if that's going there, what's happening to all these birch trees or beech trees? It looks to me like an awful lot of trees have to come out in order to get this thing in. You were on this site.
Yeah, with that, it would depend on where you're gonna flag for the septic, new proposed septic to go in. But my concern with that would be the root zone, which you're gonna be getting down so far, which would compromise the health of the tree. So I understand what you're all saying.
Well, the other option was to put it down at the top of the inland bank where there's a water on cellar. So the trade-off is we're closer to the resource. If we're down there, we're less deep with respect to the existing grades. But it's also difficult to get the machinery down in that as well. So it looks like we have some mitigation area. They are proposing the order of conditions in that area as well. So. It's a tight lot, there's not many options.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's extremely tight.
And unfortunately, my original idea was, of course, to change the plumbing, but the entire basement is finished. And we don't want to,
Yeah.
tear it all up to do that. So,
And there's a shed on that property. I assume it's on that property. I don't see it on any of the plans, so.
we,
Typical, I think it was.
yeah,
typical.
there's a lot of information from the work that had already been done, that information provided to by the surveyor, Rob Sykes, and then we had the plan that was done by Wet Tech. And here we tried to limit the amount of work that we had to do, since a lot of it had already been done, so we took information from what they provided us.
All right. Other questions and concerns from commissions? Does Aaron have anything?
Aaron, do you have any comments?
No, I don't.
No.
No.
I mean, we could conceivably turn that tank 90 degrees and be close to the property line, maybe less than, maybe more than 5 feet, but the thing is, again, we're in the situation where we're getting close to the building, you know.
Right. And it's, to turn it 90 is not gonna solve the problem with the trees that are there. Right.
Why is this an IA system?
Well, it meets all the requirements, Title V and, the local requirements as far as its distance from the pond. I have set it up so that if, and when this new regulation is promulgated to the state, there's access to the inlet manhole where we could put in a sludging. Sludging is innovative technology that's actually proving to be very effective in removal of nitrogen and phosphorus. So I think it's set some things to do about it. We actually, those approved on another project we did down in Hawaii, in the flood zone where we did construction and put sludging in that is in IHB. It's something that can be dropped into an existing septic tank. In this case, I didn't want to go ahead and design a first of all, I don't think we can get a microfast that would be able to service it. So I think those options were on. This thing here with the 4-foot inside diameter manhole, it's just a 16-inch diameter cylinder that can get dropped into that unit and just provide a punch for to have the air source from the house. So it's an easy regular there when that regulation does come through. So
Why not just do it now?
I think the owner would prefer to wait until the
Right.
regulation goes into
Yeah.
effect.
And how far is the pump chamber from the top of the inlet tank?
The pump chamber from the top of the inland bank. I don't have a measurement there, but it looks like it's approximately 80 feet or so.
I have put that down in one of my comments, Pete, because and this is based on a discussion with the health agent, any component of a septic system that's within 75 feet of any resource area, including inland bank, resource areas identified under the bylaw, requires an IA system. So you don't have a setback measurement for the septic pump chamber.
So within 75 feet of.
75
They
foot.
did not find that regulation. The only thing I could see was that it was from a water course, not from a resource area. And they referring to the Board of Health regulation?
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't find that regulation.
Okay.
And worked with Zach, and all I could see was 100 feet from a resource area. I mean, not a resource area, a
waterway.
Water course.
A water course.
A water course was defined by, the best definition that I could find was it's defined by the maximum amount that the water is going to rise in the water body.
Right.
That's controlled by an outlet flow that's the pond, so.
Okay. I'll have to talk to, because my conversation, and this is not just not specifically about this proposal, but similar one, any proposal that's within 75 feet of a resource area, is that's what the agent was saying is, a resource area as as listed and identified under 172-2, which is all of them. You know, whether it's an actual wetland or a wetland resource area like a bank, coastal inland, dune, beach, you know, those sorts of areas. So I guess it's kind of unclear, but I would like to get clarification on that, just for similar projects moving forward, if that's, yeah.
Misinterpretation from my part. It is something that could be easily changed with.
Yeah.
some revision, putting the.
Sure.
putting the selection in there. I'm not
Right.
opposed to it, it's just that I just don't feel like you know, I'm all for the environment, this is beyond the doing, but I don't want to volunteer my customers to have to put it in, you know, it's.
Right.
If I was told in for a $20,000 system, just because, you know,
Right.
I'd rather, you know, work for them, you know. and,
Sure.
I'm not sure that they'd be opposed to it. You know, there's all
Right.
set up so that we have to do this, it's ready to be done.
Right. Yeah, I understood.
It's an easy change in the plan, so.
Peter, I have a follow-up question. The existing leach pit to be pumped and filled with sand and abandoned, is that already filled with sand? To me, it looked like there was a big sandy
I
patch,
think
right?
it's still operational, you know.
It is still operational.
Well, you could, I was going to say, you see on the picture, bottom right,
Bottom right, yep.
I didn't know if they,
Well, you know, I haven't been there since we did the soil evaluation, so I don't know what additional work has been done. But at the time that I went down there, you know, the soil evaluation period, when I was still operational, we went down to the tank, elevations in the field.
okay.
So,
All of the cement structure that you see in that bottom right picture, that was not there today. It was just a big sandy patch. And I just assumed that, all right, now I'm standing right where this leach pit is going to be dealt with. And where it was all
Yeah.
sandy, I thought, well, maybe they've already done that piece. I don't know.
they may have, it doesn't look like there's nobody living there, so.
Oh, there's nobody in there, no.
Yeah, so, you know, they may let them do it. I think that if they did, we need to find out because we just kind of over this.
That was, yeah, that was the budget.
Yeah, it needs to be open up.
Right. Okay. Anybody in the audience that has any questions or comments? Hearing none. We're all set. So I'm a little bit short on protocol here. Are we going to continue and get the measurements for this or?
I would say, well, I mean, I don't know if we should do it formally and inform the hearing then.
I mean, if you can shift the pump chamber to keep it certainly out of the 75 foot, you know, obviously I want to have another discussion with Board of Health about what they consider to be setback from wetlands and what constitutes wetlands, if it's water courses or whatnot. But if you can shift it and provide a revised plan, then I don't see the need for a continuance. If not, then there probably should be a continuance just to get clarification from Board of Health about that setback.
Okay, well, they didn't give a measurement there, unfortunately, I should.
No, it's,
So, I think get that measurement. We need a couple of feet. You know.
yeah, that's probably, okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you could provide assurance tonight or if you needed time to get the measurement, and that's, you know, we just want to make sure that it's
Yeah.
just without clarifying that setback.
Skill.
So could we approve this or negative determination that if with the condition that it's all moved out of this within 75 feet of the top of the cement, that's what we're looking for, right?
That's what I asked Pete, if there was an opportunity, in your professional opinion, to shift, regardless of what, not knowing the exact setback, but in your opinion, here and now, is there an opportunity, let's just say, for argument's sake, it's within the 75 foot. Would you be able to shift and move to get it out of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be tight, very good.
Right. Okay,
And if it is triggered by, language that, you know, we don't know about, as far as the 75 foot requirement.
Yeah.
I can change it.
Okay.
You know, putting in a sludging, you know.
Okay,
is a-
okay, yeah,
And
So we're
I'm gonna circle back before we even think about a motion to the concern I have for all of those beech trees. I really, if it's gonna move, I'm still not even clear how many beech trees we're talking about taking out. There's a lot of them in there. That's a thick stand of beech.
Yeah. I think so.
And when you have to go down as deep as you do, there's gonna be root structure damage, and I'm concerned under an RDA, we might have a lot going on here. And if it was all staked out and I could say, okay, we are gonna lose those 2 trees or those 5 trees. I'm just looking at literally a strip of beech trees that runs down, you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. And how many of those are going?
well, why don't we just go with a continuous, so he has the opportunity to stake it out, we can
Yep.
get clarification from the Board of Health. And get this into the right frame to make an informed decision.
Sure.
Okay,
Are all of the X's on the plan trees that are coming out, or is that just where like spot elevation usually?
Texas one?
X's,
those are elevations, yeah,
okay,
yeah,
Elevations.
yeah.
so
Let's take it out.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
so I'll make a.
Date and
motion.
time,
So date and time will be March 23rd at 6:21.
6:20.
Let's make a motion for continuance for the RDA for 65 Redwood Circle to March 23rd at 6:21 p.m.
Thank you. Second,
So,
thank you, Sandy. Any discussion on, any discussion on, did I ask?
you're clear what we're looking for, what we're looking for?
Oh, yeah, they want to say how you want to put impact on the trees.
Yeah.
We have to move it, whatever we can use it.
Okay. let's make a
Yeah.
motion.
Losing the vision.
Great.
Okay, no discussion then on that continuance request? I'll take a roll call vote. Alex,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Yes,
and I vote yes as well. Thank you, Peter. Now calling the 6:24 hearing for Richard Whitmire, 85 Shore Drive. This is a proposed vista pruning. Representative is Marsh Matters Environmental. This is a notice of intent.
Good evening, everyone. Michael All from Marsh Matters. Yes, as you mentioned, this is this is a pretty minimal intent. We engaged for, at least some of you were say today. This is a half acre parcel, as you know, budding Hamlin Pond, Marsh, you can see the shores neighborhood. The Whitmere would like to establish a permanent vista corridor. I think it's probably best you've seen it. This is a supplementary exhibit to the plan that engineering wants to prepare. Just because I provided, just because it shows specifically the action you want to, the Whitmere would like to do on each individual tree in the corridor, which there are 16. So I'll be referring to this figure. This is a 30-foot wide corridor, which is just at 25% environment with added resource area. Salt marsh. So our resource areas are salt marsh down at the end of the block, occurring in March. And the district border is entirely within the coastal bank. Coastal bank comes up very close to the edge of the Olan property. And it is inclusive of your 1 foot increase in your regulation. So most of the activity that's being proposed is removal of branches up to a certain height. And there are some proposals to remove trees, dead trees, and some small live trees entirely. Richard said that there was questions about, or he had a discussion with you about removal of some of the smaller trees. And I told him that what I would do is I would just revise that drawing that's written now, that just instead of having it say remove, like I could say remain no action.
yeah, there were 2 trees in particular in the chart. and thank you for breaking it down to that level of detail. It's very helpful. Corresponding flags. But there's two that exceed the 5-inch DBH that you identified as viable for removal. And those are the two that I had an issue with, because anything 5 inches or larger in diameter, breast height, is considered a mature tree and therefore cannot be removed. So it can be pruned if it, you know, improves something, but it can't be removed. So, and there were two that you identified in the
Yeah, I
chart.
think I think I see it, it's the white oak.
Yep.
And, yeah, it's like
And the 7-inch pine.
7-inch pine.
Yeah. Yeah, those two.
Is that something that you could condition, or would you want this revised? I mean,
I would prefer it be revised. It's a simple thing to just take that out of take those out of the removal category,
Yeah.
put them into pruning.
Right.
Yeah.
I took the white oak out, but I realized for that time, I still have it even as removed.
Yeah.
I could cross it out by hand initially, and tonight I'm just thinking of the way you would do this route.
I think that's fine, as long as it's acknowledged on the plan is fine. It's a minor thing, so but I don't have a problem with it if the commission is okay with that. Yeah.
Was there, I know I have listed T14 and T15 on a sheet where sapling and sassafras, were those, and the one above it as well?
Yeah,
Was
because you
there
got
concern about those, or?
no, because you got 4 to 5 DBH for the black oak sassafras 2-inch DBH. It's 5 DBH. That's the cutoff, the threshold for between sapling and mature class, based on our definition of that differentiation.
Did you know that DEP on their new DVW forms, they're now calling anything about 3 inches of tree?
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow, that is interesting.
Review those regulations again.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do that right now.
Okay.
Are there any questions I can answer?
I was there today and it's a tough climb to get down that bank. And then I walked down to try to come in along the salt marsh, but that wasn't gonna happen either. So all I could really observe was from the backyard. I could see the flags for the 4-foot pathway. And those larger pitch pines, I know there's a couple of dead ones that busted off at 8 and 15 feet up. And there's some that show some pretty serious signs of turpentine beetle.
Yeah.
Those are coming out, right?
If I could interject, yeah, the Hamilton trees, there's actually a 2 arborists there, and they immediately saw the turpentine beetle in the station. Not something it's not really else.
Right.
That's but so in my description, I talked about leaving chunks of wood. Typically do that because it provides a wildlife habitat feature, so I like to do that. But if you allow to have that large stem of wood, just pull out of there.
Problem goes on.
It's hard to control those beetles, but that would be one change that.
That large down tree you're talking about?
So any large diameter pine that's being like something that deadwood, they're just saying we should just get it off site.
I agree.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, just because of the species.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. You don't want to attract more beetles, so
No,
makes sense.
yeah, the problem's just still there. It's just in a different form.
Right.
Mike, the big pitch pine with the right, it's got like a big right angle to it, saddle. Is that one going or is that staying? I didn't see any, from what I could see from the distance back, I didn't see any damage to that tree. I mean, it's weird looking, but
Yeah, I'm not sure. You have to tell me which,
I think it's,
Right to the left of that one.
is it 07 maybe?
That one right
Or
there.
08? I've got a picture of it on my phone.
On the top right photo, on the very right of the photo. Oh, yeah, that one.
This one.
Talking that one there.
yeah, that's still, is that pine? Yeah, it's weird to see a pine that has a shape like that.
Yeah, that wasn't pitch pine, I believe.
It is a pitch pine,
Is it
yeah,
a pine?
yeah.
And I couldn't see damage on it from, from the backyard,
Yeah.
because it's down there a ways. And I just didn't know. I couldn't read the tag on it. I said, is that one going or is that one staying?
I think that's either T7, T8, which are both either a 12-inch or 13-inch pitch pine, and we're just saying doing dead branches up to 35 dead branches.
Dead branch.
up
Yeah,
to
that
35.
one was identified to be pruned, not
Gotcha.
removed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that, if that's a viable, yeah, we wouldn't touch the.
Yeah, to me, that looks viable. It looks like it's been self-pruned by nature. On some
Yes.
parts, so the
Yeah.
30% ratio of pruning is definitely gonna be met with a net.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one right there.
Yeah, that's it.
Mhm.
That's the one right here. Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't tell. I couldn't read the tag and I'm not climbing down there.
Yeah,
So we'll come
there's a
back.
pathway on Kenny Mark, there's a lot right next door, he's got a little pathway that you know it's there.
I saw it, but I didn't want to go on that property.
He's not gonna shoot
I hope
I
not.
don't know.
you.
We don't have a release form, so I think, nah, I'm not going there.
Kenny's not too happy about the proposed buffer expansion, so I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like those. Other questions or concerns?
I just had one question. I saw on the plan there was for that gravel right in front of the sliding door. Are they increasing the size of that?
That's part of the proposal, so that's, right now, that's a 6 by 13 gravel path. It's got a little iron border on it. So he would like to bring the edge of it out to the front of the house. So it would become a 10 by 18 foot path.
Okay.
And same material, just crushed gravel. So that would be a 102 square foot increase, so that's something we have to do. According to your mitigation requirements, that would require 500 square feet of planting, which is, he's asking for relief, or as you can see, he's very close to the edge of the natural woodland. So if the commission is willing to allow that without mitigation, we'd love that. But we're willing to pull that off the plan, actually have a revised plan here, if it's something that the commission won't entertain. I guess my argument is that amount of gravel added, obviously I recommend mitigation requirements, but that addition of gravel would not have an impact on the function, in my opinion, of the coastal bank, either stability or even wildlife habitat provision. So I don't think it's necessary to provide impact mitigation. There's no impact, but I fully recognize your impacts.
Now, is that gonna be the same grade or is it?
Yeah, no grade change.
Okay.
Originally, he wanted to raise that, and I said, you're not gonna be able to go.
That was my exact concern right there. There's no grade change for me, that's it. But that'll be.
And it's all gravel.
It's all grass, all
Yeah.
permeable.
Yeah. Any other questions or concerns?
Aaron, any questions? No.
No.
Anything else, Drew? that you'd like to
Nope.
add? No. Anybody in the audience that would like to speak about this? No. Okay. I would entertain a motion of the vision.
I'll make a motion to close an issue for 83 Bishop Yard with the condition of the submission of a revised plan eliminating the removal of any trees over 5 inches in diameter. And that the large pines can be removed off-site for arborist recommendations for the ones. And for maintenance and perpetuity pending, yeah, as long as you have the revised plan. And with the condition that the homeowners, notify the commission annually when they're going out to do any work in or not annually, but whenever they want to do any maintenance of this corridor, that they notify.
Right.
contractors.
That's part of the.
That's
That's
boilerplate.
part of the business.
Yeah, yeah.
And do you want to address the proposed expansion of that area to gravel?
Yep, and so long as no fill is introduced with the gravel.
No grade change.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, Alex. Is there a second to that? Thank you, Sandy. Any discussion on the motion that we have? Hearing none. Sandy? Yes, I'm out of order, sorry. You vote yes.
Yeah.
Alex?
Yeah.
Aaron?
Yes.
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Thank you, motion carries. I just have to make sure you guys pay attention.
And I get this, yeah, just.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
I thought that
Appreciate it.
gravel area might have been part of the original proposal, because I know the 4-foot path had the flags that said part of the original ordinance. Didn't know. But obviously,
No paperclip? No paperclip?
I'm sorry.
it's open, Mike.
They're getting so expensive these days.
Got to keep it within the budget, right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we also have two certificate of compliance requests, one at 627.
Yeah.
7 Chat Way, are we
Yeah.
good with,
Both of them
we
passed.
both passed.
No issues.
So we'll go through that one and the next one, done.
Yeah.
Perfect. The hearing for 633 Town of Mashpee, we're gonna have a hold on that, town council is not finished his review of
Yeah.
regulation 5 and 30
Correct.
this time.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will be
Yeah, we should certainly have it
next
for
meeting.
the next meeting. Yeah.
And that concludes our hearings, and that settles us back to pre and post hearing agendas. Is Dan, you gonna take us?
Is there any way to be signing while it is?
I can pass it around.
Yep,
Sorry, you can take that out of there. I just put that in temporarily.
Alex is going for this.
So I would ask, if
Uh,
I would ask, if sorry. Yeah, it relates to this gentleman here, what I'm about to say.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, Mark,
We all.
you're gonna get up and do your presentation. Yep. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's, this is under communications and correspondence. This is Mark Lopez. Mark is the owner of 2 properties off Meeting House Road, 101 and 103. I'm sorry. That's, so you're 103. Got it. So, Mark will go over what the proposal is, specifically, but I'll just give you, the commission, some background here, because it's a little bit of a unusual situation, but one that's entirely legal, and there's no legal issues with this existing condition. So what you see on the screen right now is, this is Mark's properties and his daughter's property over here, 101 and 103. This is Meeting House Road. And this is the driveway that gets out to the 2 subject properties. This land here in the middle is Lopez Conservation Land. It's deeded conservation land to the commission. There is an easement that allows this driveway to remain through Concom land. I think this used to be Lopez family land, and it was provided to the Conservation Commission at some point in the, I don't even know when, but I just know. Yeah, okay. So that's the background. So there's no question about the legality of this easement, the existence of it. It's not in question at all. And with that, I'll hand it over to you, Mark, if you want to.
So on the project, yeah, my God, was able to build down on that, parcel, lot 1, I guess it was.
Yeah.
101. And, some of you may remember we were looking to do lands along that process fell through. So speaking with Evan from the town planner's office, Matt from David Islands Engineering, they proposed to do this and use the roadway as frontage, which was allowed through the town. So since I've had that done, it's been processed. The governor now their piece of property, my piece of property, they're trying to get place my daughter to build a home. And so my request is, there's a couple of spots in to meet the fire departments and the town planners wishes to widen that ancient way to 14 feet. And there's a couple of spots, one being way back. Not that.
These are the 2 poles leading towards your house further.
Okay, yeah, you got me back.
Yeah.
The one you're on right now, where it's right on the edge of the roadway.
Yeah.
Where the arrow is. I would like to move that pole back 4 feet in order to take that corner of land to make it 14 feet. As you can see on the right-hand side, there's a black oak and a white oak there that's right on the edge of that driveway. And that pole needs to be replaced anyhow because it's over 50 years old and more than 50, so older than most. But I'd like to move the pole back 4 feet so I can take that edge of the road off 3 feet to widen it to meet the 14 feet specification for the fire hydrant request. And down that same photo, down on the next one, I'd like to move that back about 2 feet so I can take that little corner off that goes into the road to make that 14 feet. So I'm just trying to, with those 2 spots, widen that road enough to make it 14 feet, that is required by 5 hundred. Working down, currently at that point ratio with that pole, if you're looking in the bottom left-hand corner, there's only 11 feet. That's why I like to go back 4 feet to give you that pole off the road. And the other one down below is it's just making the 14-foot span. That's why I like to make it drop it back 2 feet and have 14 plus feet.
Was there some other few arborvitae that needed to be?
There's some arborvitae going down and
I don't know if I got a photo of them, but
there's like 3 dead that the guy planted when he was,
right.
when he owned the property there, and since that was source property in 3 months ago. And because of that power line that's going down, and none of them are going to survive.
right.
But if you requested, I would replace those arborvitae. And that's what I'm looking to do, just basically. And that top left picture shows one of the arborvitae curving up. But between
Right here, yeah.
there and the next pole, I would probably for about 150 to 200 feet, I'd probably be taken off. Beginning down here a foot up to the next pole where I was down, and I can move back 4 feet.
Yeah.
So basically just gradient to widening it out on the left-hand side, and which is the better side to do, because on the right-hand side, we have, we may run into an issue with, washout if we.
Yeah, it's an embankment on the right.
It's an
It slopes down on the right-hand
we
side.
grade
of
on the
it.
left, no issues with, erosion.
Mm.
And the roads and stay in pretty good shape. It's very hard material. I worked at the fire station, but I was also in construction, so over the years, kept the road well maintained with iron and different material that I've come across, and since I've been out of that, I have somebody that buys me stuff. He brings it to me and I go to maintain the road. So that's what I'm looking to do, so I can get my daughter and grandson in a home next year.
I've got a couple of quick questions.
Okay.
On the right-hand side where it's a steeper bank that goes down, is there any standing water or any issues down there?
Well,
Face of it?
150 feet, 175 feet. It's on the border of the state property with the Cranberry Road Bottoms run down there from the, I'm not sure what that property.
Yeah, it's
state.
it's state fish and game. So he's got, so this, this shot right here, this is heading down the driveway towards the property. This image here is looking back at the road. So all of this side is where the Concom land is,
Yeah.
off to this side. They're here when you're heading down the driveway towards the house, off to the right, somewhere right around here. That it slopes down and then it meets a certified vernal pool. But it's more than a 200 feet away from that location, the road.
Okay.
So there
That's
is
what was going on in my mind,
Yeah.
what's down at the base of
Yeah.
that
no
embankment.
wetlands jurisdiction.
Right.
I went out and measured it. It's not within wetlands jurisdiction.
But there is a certified BP that's
There is.
further out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're well outside the no
Yeah.
touch zone for that.
Yes.
It is unusual. I've never seen this request since I've been here. Is there anything that we have to deal with, like with the historical commission or? You know, because it's an ancient way or altering.
What I would suggest, and I have since put in a request for a legal opinion, just to cover the base, that's all. I don't think it's going to be an issue. But what I would suggest, and you're right, it's an unusual, it's not something you commonly see. But given the extreme minor request of 3-foot widening, that you approve this request, you could just have someone make a motion to approve it, pending any sort of, commentary, feedback from town council. Yeah. So the motion would be to approve because it's not a permit application, so.
Any questions that other commissions have? Anything from Aaron online?
Nope.
Aaron, no questions? No.
She's good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody in the audience that would like to? Sure.
Lynn Barbie, 73 Surf Drive. So when we were doing the LCP, we talked about the ancient ways and making sure that we protect the ancient ways. And I wasn't always really clear what we were talking about. Now I see. My question is it when this is changed, will these changes make this roadway, ancient way, lose its designation as an ancient way, or does it stay as an ancient way, or does it become a driveway? I mean, either way, I think it's a good thing to do, but it's, for me, it was very informative that people are using these ancient ways. They're not just, I have a path behind my house, which is an ancient way of going to be used. But I just, that was my only question is, if it has a designation of ancient way, will that be removed if this changes?
I think the only way that an ancient way would be changed is if there was a change to the easement or, legal designation of it. I think the widening, and I can certainly present that question to town council, as we're already going to be inquiring just about any legal concerns with the requested widening. But I highly doubt it would take it out of an ancient way status or affect the easement in any way. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Nobody else? We're good. I'll entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the request to amend the road for the ancient way that leads to 101 and 103 Meeting House Road. Pending any feedback from town council. Is that the right way to say it?
Perfect.
Yep. Sandy, thank you. Any discussion on the motion that we have?
Aaron says no.
No, we're good. All right, I'll call for a vote. Alex,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
She said yes.
and I vote yes as well. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Good luck.
You too. Thanks for your patience. Yeah.
Technology got you.
I know. That's okay. Good night. So we do start with the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Stan gonna do them? Give you some.
Yeah. sure. You want to run through the pre-post agenda
Pretty
items?
straightforward.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So for Red Brook, road culvert. Construction, we're still researching funding opportunities. I have looked into a whole bunch and I have two that are narrowed down now for possibilities. And then it gets into timelines. So that's what we're gonna be looking at next is which one's the most viable one and then which one we're gonna go through with. Basically, and then fingers crossed for on that. So upper quadrant restoration, there's no new updates on that. Bylaw subcommittee was, again, we're still waiting for town council, so we'll discuss that later. John Pond and Santuit Milfoil, no updates there. Chop Shake Bog is being finalized by Army Corps and by MEPA or MEPA.
NEPA, yeah.
Local comprehension plan, no updates on that. Land acquisition subcommittee, the agent, the town planner have been working on prospects for that, and they will be an update to this.
Yeah.
We need something more than that. Like, I'm
it's-
happy for you guys to be working on it, but like, there needs to be more.
Yeah, I understand. I just need time.
No.
I need time really, I don't have anything else to say about it, other than I need time to actually
Like, another
organize it.
company went under agreement this past week on a pond. And on Zillow, and woke up to the pending like status, and I was like, oh, like we haven't even had a chance to just talk about these and like
Right.
figure out a game plan.
Yeah.
Figure out who the right entity is to support in acquiring appropriate properties, if they're appropriate for acquiring.
Right.
So,
I know I would love to talk about all that as well, because I have one in mind at John's Pond that is absolutely in need of attention and is prime for acquisition. And I think that one is, and it connects directly to Washington Reservation, pond trails, all the trails are intertwined.
Yep.
So I think that's a conversation that should be definitely on the agenda to be had, yeah.
Okay.
but so we can't have, it's not appropriate to have land acquisition discussions here. You lose any kind of leverage
Yeah.
for it to be here. It needs to be like a subcommittee.
Yeah, right now, it's between the agent and the town planner, so.
Right.
Why don't I put you in charge of that then, Dan?
Yeah.
Okay.
For one of those things.
Yeah.
So, Mashpee River Woodland Trail modification, that is still ongoing. We had some new correspondence from the trail, bike club. With some new ideas, so we will be conversing with them over their thoughts on that, on what they proposed, and if possible, I don't know if it's possible yet. Right, so that's the biggest thing. Mashpee guided tours are now posted for March. Herring warden, assistance from the USGS to install a measure to reduce predatory bird mortality at Mashpee River Herring Run. In the Harbor Management Committee, public scoping meeting on March 11th from 10 to noon at the Mashpee Public Library. Yeah.
Just a quick additional word on that herring warden update. So the USGS, they've sent a couple of employees who are really just very interested in helping the town address this bird mortality issue with the Mashpee herring run. So they've made some amendments to the existing fish ladder to try and deter access of great blue herons and black crowned night herons and osprey into areas where fish were congregating and staging and not moving. Therefore, they were more readily available for predation.
Right.
So one of the measures we did was, or that's taken place, is there's a secondary spillway where the fish were ascending and hitting a dead end. We put boards in to physically stop them from doing that. So they are strictly directed to the ladder
Yep.
only and not the spillway anymore. So that will automatically eliminate predation because the fish simply won't be able to access that area anymore. And then there's another deterrent at the top of the fish ladder where it meets Mill Pond, again, to deter access for predators. And also the biggest issue right now with the fish ladder is that where the concrete flume meets Mill Pond and then the channel that goes up to Mashpee Wakeby, there's almost no discernible flow. And the fish just kind of mill about until they finally find their way to the channel, which is a distance of over 50 feet. And so that's a hot spot for predation.
Targets.
Yeah, so concrete fills or filled buckets lining a pathway just above the buckets, pickle buckets will be just above the water line, and that will help to create some sort of flow. It'll also help to break up the fish when they come into the pond from the fish ladder, so they're not all congregated into one group. So this is all experimental. This is all just to see if it works, and if it does, fantastic. If not, we'll look at something else. But just
next meeting, I think you're gonna be able to tell us something because
Yeah.
they're gonna be here.
they're going to be here very quickly.
Osprey and
Both.
herring.
I've already seen.
Everything's-
Blue heron at Mill Pond.
Everything's happening earlier.
I mentioned to Drew that I was reading the fishing blog and they're running up at Middleborough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been looking, I have not seen scouts yet here, but they're coming.
Oh, yeah, he's there now.
And then just a final reminder, everybody's got till tomorrow to do your conflict of interest.
I've got my.
I'm glad that was done. Yeah.
And that's it.
Just the commissioner.
Right.
Oh, yeah, the commissioner ID badges. If anyone still is interested and you haven't sent us your headshot, please do so. And then we want to send them all at once and get them all done at one time.
No, mine expires in June. Should I
Yeah, you might as well.
start working on the new one?
Yeah. Or we can just get a new one issued with the same photo if you're fine with that. You can just get it.
I had one issue like 2 years ago. And I looked at that. She's still there. Like, what are the
Probably
odds?
not.
That's why you're.
We'll get it. We'll get a new one made though.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll probably get one. I'm waiting for your last one. Okay, I have no additional topics to add, so I would entertain a motion for adjournment if somebody wants to leave.
I'll make a motion to the next.
I thought you would. Thank you. Sandy? Okay. Any discussion?
I need to.
I think we did well. It's only 8:35. Okay, then I'll call for a vote. Alex, yes. Sandy, yes. Aaron?
Yes.
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Thanks, Aaron, for coming in.
Oh, yeah. No problem.
Please come to the office.
Yeah, Aaron, when you get a chance to come in to sign.
Yep, I'll be there tomorrow.
Okay, great. Thank you. Hey,
Night.
So you're not feeling good still, huh?
well.
You sounded bad at that meeting.